NSFW, current and former sex workers and sugar babies. What is the biggest difference in sex with a romantic partner versus sex for money favors? What is surprisingly similar? What difference, similarity would surprise people the most? I am a regular SD sugar daddy who dates other men. I have had at different times 1 or 2 different SB sugar babies at a time. Right now I have just one. A lot of people who are posting here are more towards the end of sex work along the lines of what you'd find on Backpage or another escorting resource. There is nothing wrong with escorting. SBs are basically the most sex-positive people you'll find. For many or most SDs I know, and I know a few, we are very interested in the lives of SBs. And a big part of what we are paying for is intimacy that extends well beyond sex. My SB is almost my best friend. And even though we have a financial relationship, it's only one aspect to it. For example, I'm interested in my SB getting what he wants in his life, from career, to activities, to lifestyle, and even to his vanilla outside relationships, which happen to be mostly with girls. I've helped him apply for colleges to transfer to, helped him find references for internships, and paid some of the expenses to help him with a budding career as a model. He was also there for me through some health problems. I see him 2 or 3 days a month when I travel for work, but we text almost every day. I hear about his day, his problems and challenges, frustrations, etc. He hears about similar things from me. Being older than him, I don't have the same sex drive as a younger man. We often will just relax and talk at my hotel when I am in town, with no sex at all. Maybe we'll go to an art show, or listen to a local band at a small venue, or just walk and talk. Sex is an important part of our relationship, but not the only one. It's hardly a convention relationship, but we are like all real couples in a way. We have ups and downs. I get frustrated. He gets frustrated. We have a give and take. When you get older, you realize that the Greeks had it right in regards of love. There is eros, erotic love. There is philia, the love you have for someone who is your friend and whom you'd do anything for. There is philorchia, the love you have for yourself and your self-image. ASB has the potential to enhance each of these aspects of your love life. And if you find with a great connection, it can be as meaningful or more than any conventional relationship. Every SB isn't going to be the love of your life, the love you share with a life partner, the Greek pragma, but that doesn't mean it's not important or valuable. It can be really great for everyone. I actually signed up for a sugar daddy site as research for an article one was writing, and kind of got sucked in. When you're broke and young, the idea of getting paid for work you're doing anyway sounds damn good. The first man I met with didn't work out. We didn't have any chemistry, so the sex was pretty blah and it only happened once. The second was only a few years older than me and it was just straight prostitution. He seemed to get off on handing me wads of cash after sex. But then he wanted to date and I wasn't interested, so I called it off. The third guy though, he was 24 years older than me, not bad looking but not mind-blowingly hot, and sort of soft the way middle-aged men get. I was pretty apprehensive about whether it was going to be another no-go. I was so wrong. Best sex I've ever had, hands down, and definitely taught me some kinks I didn't know I had. We saw each other off and on for 3 years, even after the economy tanked and he couldn't afford to pay me. By that time, I loved him, not really in a romantic way, but still, there was a lot of affection between us and we spent as much time bullshitting as we did having sex. I only stopped seeing him when I met my now ex-husband, and that was the end of that particular career. Sort of soft the way middle-aged men get. I was pretty apprehensive about whether it was going to be another no-go. I was so wrong. Best sex I've ever had, hands down. Built for comfort, not for speed. I'm a camgirl and I have a sort of arrangement with one of my longtime best customers where we meet up once every week or two, go out to eat or go shopping and have sex. He throws me some cash and continues to spend lots of money on me on cam, so it's very beneficial for me. Plus he is a super cool dude and I actually like spending time with him. I would say the thing that might surprise people is that I don't ever feel degraded or shitty about myself for doing it. When I was younger I dated guys in my personal life that treated me like absolute garbage and I got nothing emotionally or fiscally out of it. This guy listens to me, is kind, gracious, just is really one of the nicest people I've ever been with. I feel like people who aren't involved in the sex industry would tend to get all judge why and regard this kind of relationship as debasing when it has proven to be exactly the opposite. We both get what we need out of it and we have affection and mutual respect for each other, which is maybe not as common in traditional relationships where money isn't a factor as people would like to believe. The biggest difference is the amount of drugs everyone is on, at least in my experience. Gay friend of mine worked at a male strip club. Lots of straight guys with heroin addictions there. I sugar babied for a former sugar baby who had been knocked up and married said daddy. She had me treat her like an absolute queen unless we were in the bedroom, and then I was basically a Gestapo agent to her. The first time I did it I had to take former daddy's deceased for a year Viagra to even perform. But now I've got Pavlov's dick for roughness. Still enjoy being sweet more, but both work for me. Pavlov's dick. Now that's a great band name. I was sort of an escort sugar baby. I don't know how to explain it. I was essentially a long-term escort. I'd see the same guy every week for months. Since I was always seeing the same guys, I was able to develop business relationships as opposed to romantic ones. I'd say the biggest difference is the lack of ability to get comfortable with the other person. One guy would stay the night with me in hotels and I would wait for him to fall asleep to take my makeup off and wake up before him to put it back on. Even after knowing him for months, I wanted him to get what he was paying for, which was me being made up and looking nice all the time. Something surprising I guess would be how nice the guys were. I was never asked to do anything out of my comfort zone and was always treated like a queen. Even the men that would just get a hotel to bang in for a few hours would always get up and get a washcloth after we did the deed, stayed to chat for a bit, and usually gave me a gift as well as cash. I was a quite softcore sex worker between 18 and 22, male. By the way, most of the money I made was from doing stuff on camera, even though I never actually took any of my clothes off. Mostly men, but some women, would pay good money to watch me eat or to just talk to them about my sex life or whatever. I found that to be actually really fun. And even though I knew there was some guy jerking off to me biting my lip, it was just nice to chat to people from my end. Nobody who knows I did this believed too easily that I never showed anything, but the people who used to pay me would have been immediately turned off if I showed any skin. It was the teasing that they loved. In the real world, I did quite a bit of stuff for cash, but it was all quite vanilla. At my age and I guess the kind of person I am, it was always tender and caring. The people I worked with were not who I expected when I went into it at all, but I think I got quite lucky. Here's a few bullet points because I'm not certain how else to write this. Surprising number of overweight guys my own age who weren't getting lucky and were desperate to lose their virginity. If someone told me they were a virgin, I'd usually work it so that we met twice and had sex the second time, because I wanted to give them time to think it over and to decide whether I was the one. Everyone liked it this way as well, because it was less mechanical. Disabled guys with specific needs or low confidence. I adored giving people newfound confidence. Some of the time it was like therapy for the mind as well as the body. Fortunately, I'm quite a good listener, because some people including women seem to like connecting on an emotional level through connecting over deep stuff, and then having a cathartic sexual experience. Anyway, I had a sugar daddy. He was in his late 40s. The best thing about sex with him was that he made me feel like I was something special. People my own age tend to play it cool and act uninterested, but sex with him was very passionate and very quick, and I always walked away feeling very desired, so there was no shame involved in it at all. From my end, the price of success, for him, was that he couldn't hold down a relationship because of how much he travels. So when it was time for him to move to his next job, he asked me if I would drop it all to be his manager. He would have paid me a hell of a lot of money, and I would have joined him on trips to the most amazing places, which he takes all of the time. It was really the life that I spent my time wishing I had, but when it was on the table, I couldn't give up my education, friends and family for some luxury, so I turned him down. The time before the last time we met, he told me that he gets people things all the time, but nobody ever gets him anything. We couldn't sit down outside or go to a shop without people asking for photos or making comments or whatever. And in private, He was filled with sadness and needed someone who would give to him genuinely. The last time we met was the day before he was leaving to wherever he was going next. Alone. We had a ritual of going out for drinks, dinner, then sex. But the last time, I decided to bring some stuff to make cocktails and we stayed in. I made pasta, and we watched TV instead of doing something expensive or fancy. I initiated sex that night, something I never do with sugar daddies, and gave him a little something personal at the end. I guess that relationship made me re-evaluate what I wanted from my life. So I quit all the sex stuff and got a minimum wage job cold calling people while I finished my degree. The biggest difference is whether or not I can relax. My boyfriend would never try to gag me or switch holes or pinch me, but the men who would pay me didn't care. I used to be so tense during sex that I'd be so tight. It was very uncomfortable. There were positions I'd refuse to do because I wasn't about to get a bruised cervix or get torn behind again. It's so different now. My boyfriend loves me. I feel so safe. I can do things like put my ankles on his shoulders or close my eyes. Sometimes, my boyfriend will accidentally hit my cervix too hard, or sometimes nothing even triggers it, it just happens. But I get really anxious and panicky like I did with the guys who paid me. I cry so much and he always says he doesn't mind, but I feel guilty for it. I wish I had never done it. I don't know why I ever said it was easy money. It f***ed me up pretty bad.